Hello and welcome to another bag making class. So in today's class, we're going to be doing another handbag. All right. And this bag happens to have quite a number of parts to it. I'm going to talk to you about the different parts and how to cut them out. But before we get right into it, I would like to say a very big thank you if you're a subscriber of this channel. If you've not yet subscribed to the channel, I'll advise that you hit the pause button, go and subscribe, and don't forget to hit the bell icon just so that you'll be notified anytime a new video is uploaded. All right, so let's get right into it. Today I'm doing a combination of canvas fabric and leather together with some hardwares. All right, so this is going to be the main body of the bag, and the size for the main fabric is from here to here, that is 10.75 inches by 19 inches, and that is for the fabric. I also have some ribbon for embellishment. You're going to need some leather for the inside. Okay, so this time around we are using leather as our lining. All right, and the leather must be bigger than the main fabric, and you get to know the reason why that needs to be done. So the size for the leather is going to be 11.5 inches by 19.75 inches. All right, then you're going to go into the pockets. So you're going to have the bigger size pocket and the smaller size pocket. So you're going to be cutting for the bigger size pocket. You're going to cut two pieces of that, and that is going to be 5 inches by 10.75. That is for the bigger pockets. And then for the smaller pocket, that is 4 inches by 10.75. All right, then there's going to be another bag, like a little purse for the inside of the bag, and you're going to be cutting 4 pieces of that. Okay, and the size for the inside pocket or purse is 5.5 inches by 10.75. All right, you're going to cut 4 of that size. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. That is what you're going to cut. You're also going to be cutting for the sides of the bag. You're cutting it at 3.5 inches by 6.75 inches. You need to cut 2 of those. Now let's go on to the hardware for the bag. You would need a chain strap or metallic strap. You have a metal tag here, which I'll be using as embellishment when we get there. I have my handmade tag I'll be using, and then I have 2 D-rings, 2 of them. I think this is about 1.75 centimeters wide here, so I have 2 of those, and we'll get to know what to do with that later. You would also need your metallic teeth zipper, and my zipper length is 9.5 inches. I would have preferred a much bigger one, about 12 inches if I had, but I do not have it, so I'm going to work with this as well, hopefully to come out well. And you're going to be cutting 2 pieces of leather at 1 inch by 2 inches, and this is going to help us strap our D-ring to the leather, inside part of the leather, before we attach our chain handle. So you're going to need 2 of those. And then you're also going to need a 1x1 square leather, which is going to help us secure the edge here of our zipper beautifully. So basically, that is everything I've talked about that we're going to be using in today's project. Then of course you need your machine and your matching thread. And we're going to carry out stitching, and if anything else comes up that I need to talk about, I'll definitely talk about it in the video. All right, just before I go ahead to start stitching, there is this bit that you would need to work on. So you're going to be cutting 10.75 by 2.5 inches strip. Forget about this. I was using this is a remnant leather piece I was using as sample of what to do next, but this bit here is going to be serving as an embellishment as well. Okay, so what you're going to do is you measure from the bottom here coming up 1 inch, bottom here coming up 1 inch, draw a line, find the center of that line. Okay, then you move away a little bit from the center of the line and do a curve to join this bit. Then you're going to cut it up to that end, fold it onto it, and make sure that you're folding it onto the center, that you have a perfect fold. Okay, and then you trace, like I always say, you trace the other side as well here. Okay, So you're going to cut this shape out, and I'll show you what that will be used in a minute when we start stitching. All right, so the first thing I'll do is to stitch my ribbon to the center of the fabric. To stitch the ribbon to the center of the fabric, what you do is you put the fabric into 2 equal halves, find the center of it, put the ribbon into 2 equal halves, find the center of it, and then you line up the center lines. You can see like I marked it here, so I lined up my center lines. I'm going to run a stitch on this end and on this end. I'm going to try and make my stitch as clean as possible. Then we take it from there. All right, so now this has been stitched in. The next thing I'm going to do now is to put the right sides of fabric and our leather together. Okay, remember we had made it a bit bigger than our fabric. I'm going to turn it so that you see it. So in the end, when we turn it, I left 1 centimeter space around all the 4 sides of the fabric. Then the next thing is we are going to match the sides together like this. Okay, and then run a straight stitch up here right on the side. I'm going to do that, and then I'll come back to you, and then we take it from there. So I've done stitching with this bit here. I'm going to pull this end here to line up with this side. Always make sure that you're leaving your 1 centimeter at the top, because there is a tendency that you may be stitching it like this. All right, so I'm going to cut it down a little bit on the sides so that it's not too bulky, and then we turn it inside out. All right, so now this is what we have. I'm going to try and do like a stitch in the ditch if I can. If I cannot get it that much, I would only do a top stitch very close to our leather here on both sides, and then we take it from. So we got that beautifully stitched in the ditch, so you don't even see the stitch on this side, but you see it on that side. I'm going to go ahead and do it on this side as well here. All right, so let me bring you up to speed on a few things I've done here. I've just done a top stitch on this leather, which is going to be placed over here. What I'm going to do next is to stitch my embellishment onto it at the center bit here. At this bit, I've folded it in, and I'm going to show you what I did on the opposite side. So what you're going to do is to fold it, first fold and then a second fold. All right, we are going to be stitching it on the second fold. Hopefully we'll be able to stitch it. At this point the leather looks quite bulky, but then we may be able to do it. So that is what I have done on the other side. So we'll do that together. This bit I'm just going to be applying some evostick glue onto this bit, and we stick it there. Okay, so this is what we have for the flap. Our bag is beautifully taking shape, and I like what I'm seeing. It's going to come on top of it like that. So far so good. I'm going to go ahead and finish off this very end like I did on this end here, and then bring it back. All right, now the next thing to do is to attach our D-rings. Okay, so what I have done is to fold my bag to know exactly where my flap is going to go. I've measured the line, you can see it faintly over there, and from my stitch line coming in I measured 1 inch. From my stitch line coming in I measured 1 inch, and then I figured out where I'm going to be attaching my D-ring. Okay, so what we're doing next is to bring in our strip, 1 inch by 2 inches strip. I've just rubbed some machine oil on the side. I'm going to be finding the center of this strip, and that happens to be here, as you can see from the fold. So what I'm going to do is fold 1/2 towards the center like this. I'm going to be running a stitch over there, and then fold the other half towards the center and run a stitch as well. Okay, so this is what we have. I'm going to slide it through the D-ring like that, and I'm going to make a slit here. So I'm going to decide how wide I want that slit to be, and obviously it has to be about this size. So let's figure out what size that is. It's like 1/2 inch. So I'm going to Okay, and then with my seam ripper, I'm going to go in and make a slash there. Make sure that you're not doing it together with your fabric. So I'm just doing only the leather. Okay, that should be enough. Then we're going to slide that in and then run a stitch over here. Hopefully we'll be able to run a stitch and do the same for this side as well. So then our chain gets to go on like that. Okay, so what I have done is just to fold the edges in a bit to finish off the edges nicely for both pockets. I'm going to be putting a stitch in the middle here, and then we go on to attach it to the back. All right, let me draw your attention to something here. You would see that there's a little bump over here. Okay, what I did with that one was I started stitching this way and carried on that way. So there was a bit of stretch somewhere here. That's what happened. But in solving it, I rubbed a little bit of oil and I started stitching from in out and that way, and came to continue from here and that way, and I've seen that it's come out really beautiful. So I think that's the option to that problem going forward. Okay, so we have both pockets on both sides. What you are left is a sandwich pocket that is going to be in the center. So this is what we have for the bag. Basically, we're still getting there. Okay, so I'm just going to set this on the side and work on the inner pockets, and then we carry on from there. Okay, so we've got to the zipper bit, and this is where we use the 1 by 1 inch leather that we cut. I'm going to stitch my leather onto the tip or the end of the zipper like that, and I'm going to flip it over, wrap it around, and then do a top stitch here. Okay, before we carry on. All right, now that has been stitched in. Now I found the center of the fabric I'm going to be stitching. I've also found the center of the zip to attach. I'm going to mark my lines, and this is where they meet. Okay, I'm going to open it because that will make it easier to set it that way. So matching them, and then I'll bring the other side of the fabric on top of it like that. Okay, and then we stitch it close. All right, so we finished stitching this bit here. I've marked the center of the next one. So this is how you're going to lay the fabric over here. All the right sides are touching each other. Make sure you have to watch it the way you place your zip and the fabrics. So I'm going to have the second layer come on top of it, making sure that I match my center lines so that we have everything matching up in the same place. When you get to the tip of the zipper, you pull this out a little bit just so that you can stitch this up flat and have the effect looking like that. All right, for the inside pocket, I've done the zip and everything else. I want to do a French seam on the side, so you're going to be stitching it on the right side of the back. As you can see, it's the right side of the piece I've done now. I'm going to stitch on the right side, finish stitching on the right side on these 3 sides. What I'm going to be doing next is to cut it down, cut the seam down quite close to my stitch line, and then we'll turn it inside out and then run another stitch again on the side. All right, so what I ended up doing was to double the leather on the sides. Okay, let me give you the measurement again for how long you need to cut it. So you are supposed to be cutting that side one at 5.75, and then the width remains the same. Okay, 3.75. You're going to be cutting 2 of them, but the second one should be slightly shorter. The reason is we're just going to fold this on top of it and then stitch it. This makes the side stronger enough to give it the shape of the bag we want on the side. When I've done it just on one layer, it looked quite flat, and that wasn't the look I was going for. So I've gone ahead to stitch it on the one side. I'm going to be doing the same on the other side. So when you've doubled it, what you're going to do is obviously one is going to be shorter than the other. Okay, so I'm going to fold this over this and run a top stitch. to hold it together. Then I'll attach it to the side. All right, so here we are. I'm going to have just made a snap button here for closure that will quite match a few of the colors in the bag. So I'm going to open it for you to see. I've just put something in to shape it up. So this is the inside of the bag. It's got loads of pockets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and 8. Another one here. We have a little handmade tag here as well. That's the inside of this pocket. That is just going to be a drop-in pocket here, like that. So basically that is it, and that is our chain. Just to shape it up, I've put in something else here. That's the sides, and that's the sides of the bag. I'm just going to snap it close to the end. That is it. So we've come to the end of today's project. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please don't forget to give our video a thumbs up. Leave all your comments in the comment section below, and don't forget to subscribe if you've not done that already. I'll also urge you to check my other channel, which is Podcast with Sheila, the podcast that is spreading positivity around the world by sharing inspiring real life experiences. Don't forget to subscribe to that as well if you like it and you're interested in it. Until we meet again in our next exciting tutorial video.